Penny here, and welcome to day 29 of the 80 Days Junk Journal Stuffies Challenge. And today we're going to be making paper hanklets, or I call them hanklets. And they're just an envelope that is just folded in a different way. I'm seeing some of these in different variations all over through Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, so I thought that I would try something a little bit different, based on what I like to do. So I have an envelope. I've opened it up. It's one of those thrift shop ones that's stuck together. So I'm going to open it up, unglue it, unattach it, and I folded the first flap back because I'll show you in the video about how that I am going to put that down in a journal. So the first flap is actually folded back so that you can actually put it in a journal and it will be a flip up, if that makes any sense. So I'll show you here. So I'm just distressing the edges of the envelope, and keep in mind this envelope was a thrift shop one, so I did have to tear a little bit of pieces, but that's okay because I'm just going to cover it. And I'm trying to make the envelope a little bit more pliable, a little bit more softer. But I'm going to fold this back, and I'm going to take some washi here, my mustache washi that is so cute. And I'm just going to tape that down because that's what's going to be glued into the journal page so it can make a flip up. But right now I'm going to, I'm trying to plug in my glue gun and get my glue going here. And with this one, it depends upon your envelope, what envelope that you have, whether or not you have a high peak or a low peak. I have a high peak on this one, so I am going to turn that down. And plus it gives support for the pocket that I'm going to create. So I'm just gluing this down, and gluing that peak down so that I can form a pocket, a short pocket, and not one that's real tall, because it would have been difficult to have a peak pocket there. But anyway, this is the tag that we created for day 28, or the bookmark. So here I am. I'm going to stick it in. I'm going to get some papers, and I am going to start covering up that glue, the messiness of where I had to rip the, open the envelope. Here I've got some muslin unbleached cloth that I'm going to use as sort of a base to work on. And I'm only going to glue this to one side, the underneath side of that little flap, because I want this to be a tuck to close the envelope. So I am just looking and seeing how that I can arrange this, and I'm only, like I said, I'm only going to glue this down so that it's only on the right side flap and not the left, because I want the left to be tucked under this cluster that I'm going to create, because I want to make sure that my envelope does close so that my hanklet, I should say, so it will close with stuff inside the pocket, and I can add more things and it won't fall out. The cluster made, I want to put some jute rope around this, and I want to glue it to each little flap so that I can use this as sort of a tie, to make sure that the envelope doesn't come open if I put a lot in the little hanklet envelope. So I'm just very carefully using the glue gun to glue down the jute rope on that flap. And then I'm going to, this is the top flap, so now I'm going to do the same thing on this side, but I'm going to be very careful not to get burnt, and number two, not to over glue to where that the two flaps actually stick together. So I'm trying to be very careful with adhering everything together on both. And then I'm just going to flip this and let this stick to my mat. It won't hurt my mat, but I'm going to make sure now that I'm only gluing maybe about a ½ inch over from the edge of this right side flap, so that I can use this as a tuck spot for the left side flap. I hope I made that sense. So that's a messy circle flower. Those came from La Jean, so I made those with the base of a muslin cloth and some vintage crochet thread. And I'm just making sure that that does not glue to the edge of that, because I want the flap on the left to go under that cluster but on top of the other flap. It's a tuck. It's just a tuck. So I'm moving the strings, and then I'm going to actually I'm going to tie the strings actually. And since that was wax paper, I'm going to have to use a different glue than the glue gun. But that's okay. It was a coated paper, so I'm just going to use some of my Eileen's glue there. And so there we go. I think here in just a bit, see it popped open when I tried to get this stuff out. But that's okay, because that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a tuck. And here I am just going to... So here I am just tying those strings so that I know that if I put more stuff in it, it's not going to come open. Or if I put in a journal and make it a flip up, because that's what that back piece I'm going to do with, I want to make sure that the pieces stay in. So it's just an extra secure. Now this is a flap that I'm going to take my washi tape off, because I want the string under that flap. That flap is made to be glued down on a journal page, or you could just leave it as a pocket and leave it to insert in a journal. You could make it like a sort of a bookmark or paper mark. Actually, you could take that flap and flap it over a journal page if you wanted to. If you did not want to glue it in, you could absolutely just flip that over on a journal page, and it would make a marker like flip up. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed day 29 of the 80 days. Bye!